Hello beautiful people and welcome to the eclipse season. So in this video we will be talking about the first eclipse of this summer of this season, and that is the new moon solar eclipse in Leo, which we will be experiencing today on August 12th, even though I am pre-recording this. So I'm not recording this on August 12th, everything is happening simultaneously, so we will be talking about these energies, and I will give you a few details with regards to the eclipses, especially the ones connected to Leo, because we have another anomaly going on here. But before I get into the astrology, I just would like to let everybody know, if you're not aware, as of 8/8, the Lionsgate portal, I am running my final sale. I will not be offering any more sales or discounts coming next month, because I will be restructuring my pricing. So this will be the final sale offered on my website. You can take advantage. It will be running until the end of the month, and after that the prices will be whatever will be redefined on my website, which you are welcome to check out on the equinox and going forward. So with all of that out of the way, now let me just focus on some of the main things that are happening prior to this eclipse speaking, and I'm just going to name the few things, and then we will be talking about the actual chart. So on Sunday we had Mercury moved into the sign of Leo and straight away squared Chiron retrograde. This is also the first lunation with Chiron retrograde. Chiron is going to retrograde back into the sign of Aries in September, and then stations direct in January 2027, and will return back into the sign of Taurus in April 2027. So just a few things about Chiron, because this is the first lunation with Chiron retrograde. So okay, then on Monday there was a Venus in Libra trying to Pluto, and actually we have a beautiful KITE formation in the sky, not quite connected to the eclipse itself, but there is still a kite, so that counts. So okay, so Monday Venus trined Pluto, Venus opposed Neptune, and Mars trined the North Node in the sign of Aquarius, Mars obviously being a sign of Gemini on the final degree. And then right after that, on Tuesday the 11th, so only a day before the eclipse, Mars moved into the sign of Cancer, then Moon moved into the sign of Leo in preparation, Mercury opposed Pluto and trined Neptune, and also Venus trined Uranus. And then on the day of the actual eclipse, before the eclipse speaking, Mars in Cancer made a sextile to Chiron retrograde in Taurus. And also after the eclipse, Mercury will make an exact sextile to Uranus. So there are a lot of things going on. Also after the eclipse, the following day, Mercury will sextile Venus. And on Saturday, Sun will trine Pallas, Mercury will conjunct Jupiter. This one is important. Mercury will conjunct Jupiter on Saturday, and so on and so forth. Life will continue after that. So the few things I wanted to mention with regards to this actual lunation is that this eclipse will not have an opposition eclipse, which is the lunar eclipse. Normally, we would experience the solar eclipse in certain sign, and 6 months later, lunar eclipse in a certain sign. This is not going to be the case, as it's what we've been experiencing since 2023, when we had the new moon solar eclipse in Aries. That eclipse also never had the lunar eclipse. There was no lunar eclipse in Aries at all, just solar eclipse. And also the Pisces eclipse, which we will have the final one of at the end of August 27th, that was never seeded by a solar eclipse. There was no solar eclipse in Pisces. So we are experiencing quite interesting pattern here. So we had these fire eclipses, only solar eclipse, Aries, now Leo. There will be no lunar eclipse in Leo until February 22nd, 2036. 2036, that's like 11 years from now, so there is no lunar eclipse, there is no illumination of what are we creating, what are we seeding until 2036. So at that stage, actually, I looked at the chart, it will be conjunct by Saturn, which is interesting because Saturn is trining this eclipse, this one currently, August 2026, and so it will be trined by Saturn, and at the time we will have Uranus already almost midway through Cancer. So obviously Cancer connected to the moon, Leo connected to the sun. So I'll leave it at that, but I just wanted to bring up this interesting pattern that we've been experiencing, as I said, in 2023. And as I mentioned in my previous video, there will be more interesting patterns being experienced with the eclipses. Speaking of which, next year we will have 5 eclipses, 3 eclipses in summer. That will be the full moon, lunar lunar eclipse in Capricorn, solar eclipse in Leo again, and lunar eclipse in Aquarius, the one and only. And then the following year, the following year I think will be again 5, but in 2029 we will have 6 eclipses. So the eclipses are kind of playing their own role just as they're meant to, and we know that our ancestors used to be afraid of the eclipses because this is where destiny is taking place. So our kind of free will is kind of like put on the side, and the higher self is in charge, which it always is anyway. But as I mentioned in my previous videos leading up to this lunation, we have more free will to our disposal than for a very long time, especially now with Saturn in Aries. However, now Saturn is retrograde, and everything else that's going on with the retrogrades and everything, and this is an eclipse season, so free will, not free will, doesn't matter, always the higher self and the source is in charge. But just to let you know, there is no lunar eclipse in Leo. This eclipse will be resetted by a solar eclipse again next year, and then there will be no more eclipses. There is only 2 eclipses in Leo. Yeah, that's another interesting thing, because usually there are 3 and there are only 2 this time. Only 2 solar eclipses in Leo and no lunar eclipse in Leo. So okay, all of that out of the way, this eclipse was seeded by by a new moon in Leo last year in July 24th, I believe it was, and that was on 2 degrees. Yeah, 2 degrees of Leo, which is interesting because this one is happening on 20 degrees, I believe. Yes, 20 degrees. So another number 2. Number 2 is always associated with choice, polarity, duality. And then next year we will have the full moon in Leo, which will not be an eclipse. I believe it's on the 22nd of February, and that will be again on 2 degrees, I believe. I know there were a lot of twos going on. So yeah, so lunar eclipse next year will be in Virgo. There will be no lunar eclipse in Leo, and again the next year's solar eclipse, I believe, is again on 2 degrees. So there are a lot of number 2, which, as I mentioned, is all about polarity, duality, choice, partnership, and also in the major arcana is the High Priestess. So this is where the intuition is coming online. During this lunation, Mercury already is in the sign of Leo in a closing phase conjunction with Jupiter, because as I already mentioned, their conjunction is happening on the 15th in the sign of Leo. Also, this eclipse is happening in a closing phase with the South Node. This is eclipse that's happening on the South Node in the sign of Leo, still on that anuretic 29 degrees, actually 29 degrees and 47 minutes, which is 11:11. So patterns are closing, patterns of the past are closing. This is the one and only new moon in a year that is ruled by the sun, just as last month we had the one ruled by the moon, so the luminaries are in place. And there is nothing in Cancer. Mars is in Cancer, so Mars is also being heavily influenced by this lunation, and also Mars is in a T-square during this lunation. Mars is in a T-square with Venus and Neptune. Yeah, Venus in Neptune. Venus is in her rulership in the sign of Libra, and Neptune, of course, is ruled by Mars because it's in the sign of Aries. So as I already mentioned, this eclipse is trined by Saturn. There is a 6 degree or between them, but it's trined by Saturn. And as I already mentioned, the first full moon lunar eclipse in Leo in 2036 will be happening in conjunction with Saturn at the time in the sign of Leo. So what else is going on here? Yes, I already mentioned also there is a beautiful KITE formation in the sky, and that is the Jupiter-Mercury conjunction in opposition with Pluto, and also Venus, Pluto and Uranus are in a grand air trine. So this is all about air and fire. A lot of air and fire are in place for this lunation. Like I said, the only thing that is in Cancer is Mars, and that's pretty much the only thing that is in the water sign. Because the nodes are now in Aquarius and Leo, and we have a lot of planets retrograde already. Pluto is retrograde, of course, Saturn newly retrograde, Neptune retrograde, Chiron recently turned retrograde, and this year we will also experience Venus and Mars retrograde as well. So there is a lot of retrogrades happening and going to happen before the end of the year, which is all about finding the answers within, because with the retrograde planets you will not find what you're seeking outside of yourself. You have to individuate. And when we just think about Leo in itself, it is an authenticity. It's in opposition with Aquarius, which is the individuation. Yeah, authenticity, it's your creativity, it's your sense of purpose and destiny. And because this is an eclipse, so destiny is in charge. So it's in a sense putting us on a track of creating whatever we came here to create, not just with regards to our contracts and karmic debts to one another, but with regards to creation in itself, creation as source. So that's why with the Saturn trine in the eclipse, and this is a closing trine, which is harvest, right? Harvesting trine, and Saturn being retrograde on the second decan, Leo decan, Taurus degree of Aries on that 14 degrees. It is all about creating a new foundation. Also, with this eclipse happening on a 20 degrees, is technically on the final decan of Leo, which is an Aries decan. So again, here we got Saturn in Leo decan of Aries, and here we have eclipse in Leo, but in an Aries decan. And yeah, also with the Mercury-Jupiter conjunction, all of those ruled by Sun, so connected to the energy of this eclipse and being in the same sign, of course, Mercury closing to Leo, closing to Jupiter in Leo, this is all about recreating or culminating the way we identify reality and we communicate, and then a new language will be found, a new way of communication and a new way of connection to reality will be created. And that's technically also what is part of this process that we are in, also in the Cancer new moon recently, and Aquarius full moon, right? We had this Mercury in Cancer, which was all about this intuition, right? Like learning to connect with our intuition, learning to make our way through life through feeling rather than thinking, like trying to rationalize everything, because the mind is the archive of the past, right? The logical mind only knows what already happened. So having this Mercury-Jupiter conjunction, Mercury in a closing phase with Jupiter and Mercury-Jupiter together in a closing phase with this moon, the old way of thinking, the old story is ending, because there is a new creation that's online. And also with this Venus, as I mentioned, part of this KITE, together with Mercury, Jupiter, Venus, Uranus and Pluto, these are all fire and air elements, which is about masculine energy, the creating a forward momentum. With the fire energy creates a desire. With the Leo, what is your heart, telling you that you desire, what do you want to experience, what is your passion? And then with the air, it's like channeling stuff, like bringing it into the bringing it through ethers, right? And also with the Venus being in Libra, which is all about balance on that 5 degrees Leo degree, Uranus also being on the 5 degrees. I mean, their exact trine is happening the day before, right, on the 11th, the day before the exact trine. So Venus being in the exact trine with Uranus. This is the first trine since the conjunction, which is the Leo creation again, and the 5 degrees Leo degree. And then Pluto retrograde, of course, being on the 3 degrees. 3 is the number associated with Jupiter, expansion of consciousness. Number 3 is the co-creation, and also number 3 in tarot is the Empress, which is Venus, right? So yeah, this is where the creative potential of the universe is not going to come through the way and the means we know it. So it is all about this frequency. It is all about learning to go beyond the mind, learning to go beyond the form, learning to go beyond the manifested reality. That's why there is literally, apart except for Chiron, and Chiron is in a square with the lunar nodes, right? Correction. Chiron is trining the south node in Leo, because it's almost back in Aries. No, Chiron is in a square with Mercury and Pluto. Chiron is in a T-square with Mercury and Pluto. And Uranus is technically squaring the lunar nodes still, even though it's out of sign already. still the resolution is the North Node. North Node is now in a sign of Aquarius, no longer in a sign of Pisces. So it's saying we're breaking the pattern, we're going beyond Uranus, the ruler of the North Node at the moment. So yeah, so the only thing that is in the Earth sign at the moment is Chiron, right? And then we have Mars in the sign of Cancer, which is the only other feminine placement that we have. So with the Chiron, is the key between Saturn and Uranus, Saturn being in Aries and Uranus being a sign of Gemini. It's saying that the only way you find a way forward is within yourself. That the foundation is hiding within. That's what we will be learning with Chiron in a sign of Taurus. Like, what is my value? And the way I value myself, that's the way I'm going to operate in this reality, because I'm only going to allow the world to treat me the way I treat myself. And also the world out there is responding, right? Is in the response to me, to how I feel. Like, how they say that universe doesn't give you what you want, or you don't attract what you want, you attract what you are, right? Like, what are you in resonance with? So that's why I feel with all of these placements that are going on with this KITE, the creation is happening through ethers. So it's learning to connect to that which is not defined, which doesn't have a form, with the fire and the air. All is a desire. All is a passion, with the Mars, which is how Pluto acts consciously, Mars being in the sign of Cancer on that anuretic 0 degree, and it's connected to the lunation because, of course, new moon, sun and the moon are together. So it's saying that we are learning to create in this new way, which is through the feeling, which is through connecting to these things that are intangible, the ether, the air, like bringing it up from the thin air or something. So this is a process that will take time. It will take time to ground, to manifest. With the Chiron in Taurus, it will take time for us to recognize that I can do it. I have the ability to do it. I forgot because I wasn't brought up in this way. I wasn't being programmed in this way to know that all the power I'm seeking is actually and always has been within myself. So this is also with the South Node in Leo. The South Node is like twofold. It's bringing you the gifts from the past, the gifts, the spiritual gifts, but also it's going to remove everything that is not authentic. With the South Node in Leo, it's going to take away things that are no longer in alignment, that are not authentic, that are not online with your heart's desire. In this case, we talk in eclipse, so we're talking about the soul, the destiny, the source, the power that knows everything, right? This is not just about just my will and my oversoul. This is like connected to everything. This goes beyond, like with the North Node in Aquarius, this goes beyond just what is about me, what is about me, but be part of it, be part of everything. So, the eclipse happening, of course, in the, new moon in opposition with the North Node, there is a balancing. With the Venus being the sign of Libra, there is a balancing going on. Venus being the ruler of Chiron, we are learning that the reality that I want to be experiencing outside of myself, first, I need to learn how to become that, right? Like how to become the frequency matched to it. So that's why with this Leo new moon solar eclipse, like what it's really bringing, even though, like I said before, like we going beyond everything that's known. So the true understanding is not in the mind. It is not in the mind. I cannot give you the definition of what this really means. But what I can see is the main theme. It is here to help us remember, with the Mars, how Pluto acts consciously in the sign of Cancer connected to the moon, how to create in a new way. This is the Aries decan of Leo, right? Aries decan of Leo, Saturn on that Leo decan of Aries, so we're learning how to create in a new way, responsibly, and also with the sense of authority that I can and I will. I have that power. All I need to do is to think in a different way, to be able to connect with the reality in a different way that goes beyond. It goes beyond the manifested form, because Uranus is out of Taurus now. It's not going back to Taurus, for the next 8 decades. It's not going back to Taurus. It's saying that now with Uranus in Gemini, by the time Uranus is done with Gemini, the way we think will be completely taken apart. It will be completely blown apart, like a dynamo. They didn't dynamite, you put it in the head and, it's like blows the whole program. The program will be dismantled by the time Uranus is out of Gemini. But what that means is that then there is a space, there is a space to be filled with something else. So what do you want to fill it with? So this is what I feel is the main thing with this Leo with this solar eclipse in Leo, because it's Leo is all about authenticity. So it's not about replication. It's not like, okay, what is the other person doing? Okay, let me have a look what they're doing. I'm gonna follow, I'm gonna copy them. No, Leo is not about copying. Leo is about authenticity. What is authentic to me? So this is where we are stepping into the time and age. We already had stepped into it, where watching what somebody else is doing and like, okay, I'm just gonna do what they're doing, copy them, and I expect the same result. It's not gonna work, because everybody is stepping into their own into their own destiny. You can step into your own destiny, right? Because we are, like, the best way to describe it, I'm sure I used this analogy many times before, is like we are all actors running without the script now. Like, the roles that we played, now it's finished, it's completed. The TV series, the TV show, it's completed, so we are all actors looking for a new role, looking for a new script. Like, what am I going to play? Who am I going to be? What is my new purpose? What is my new direction? What is my destiny? Why am I here? What am I here to do? So we all looking for this. Like, in this world that is falling apart, in this reality that's changing rapidly, we can't necessarily all see it yet, but we can feel it. What is my place? What am I here to do? What is my destiny? Why did I come? Right? So there's many people are asking themselves these questions, or it's crossing their mind, like, why am I still here? Right? So this is the thing, nobody can tell you, nobody can give you the answer to that. So this is with the eclipse in Leo, which, like I said, will not have a lunar eclipse opposition until 2036, okay? And that adds up to number 11, right? Perfect, 2036, and next year is also number 11. So until that time, we all be figuring out for ourselves, I suppose. We're gonna figure out, like, okay, well, what it is that I want to become and create. And it's not like, okay, let me go into my mind and decide, okay, yeah, I want to play this role or that roles, because it cannot be a mental decision. It cannot come from the mind. The decision and the forward path, it is not coming from the mind. The direction is not coming from the mind. The definition of the direction is not coming from the mind. It's going from somewhere that is beyond that. Also, like, it just came to me, Mars is, of course, being coming into square with Neptune, right? Mars is coming into square with Neptune, being in Cancer, Neptune being in Aries, and Mars is the ruler of Neptune, of course, and this is a first quarter square, which is the crisis and action. Like, we need to realize that I am not the same person that I were, last time that there were eclipses in Leo Aquarius, some 9 years ago. So lot has changed, lot has changed since beginning of this decade. Lot has changed. So now we are all trying to catch up with what actually already happened, which is that a lot of things have changed. I'm not the same person. What I'm here for has changed, because until then, with the Neptune in Pisces and Saturn, recently in Pisces, we were still like wrapping up some stuff from Piscean age, some contracts, some karma, some whatever. But that's all finished now. But now we are learning to embody the understanding that it is finished. It is finished. There is a completely new direction opening up for everyone. I'm no longer playing this role of this bad person or this whatever, I was to someone else, and they played the role towards me and stuff. Like, all of this is complete. We just have to realize that, like when people I don't know, like lose their job or retire. Yeah, that's a good retire. And then, if they like don't think about it, they're on automatic. They change the job. They still like want to go to the same place, do the same thing. It's like such a embodied pattern. Like imagine if somebody was like a doctor all their life and now they retired, but they don't just stop being a doctor. Because that's so engraved in their sense of identity that like if there is something, they straight away will like jump and like, oh yeah, I'm a doctor, I can help, or something. So that's what I mean. So we've played these roles for such a long time, and now somebody tells you like, oh yeah, you don't have to be the victim, you don't have to be the hero, you don't have to be the tyrant, you don't have to be the martyr, you don't have to play these roles anymore. And then we go like, what you mean? Like this is what it is. There's always a good person, a bad person, the person that sacrificed themselves, and all the in between, right? So now somebody tells you like, okay, well, these roles are kind of redundant. They're Piscean age, and now we are in Aquarian age, and this is all about equality. So nobody is superior, inferior. Like there is no hierarchy. This is something which I observed and experienced, especially in Bali. It was very obvious. It was like either you are above or you below. There is no equality. Like we've experienced it with my husband. Like we were going to the same coffee shop for coffee or breakfast, and once the people become familiar with you, that they think like, yeah, you are a friend, but they don't see equality. It's very difficult for them to perceive someone as equal or themselves as equal to someone. So if they no longer see you as superior, as someone that they have to serve, then automatically you become inferior. Because for some people it is very difficult. It's very difficult to accept equality. Like, yeah, are we all equal? Like, what does it mean? Aren't these people better and these people worse? The best way to see it is through monetary system. These people are rich, so they are superior. These people are homeless and poor, they are inferior. We have this ingrained in our program, in our mind, in our human experience. So now, you have this Venus, and all these guys, in this KITE and this grand air trine, and is saying like, okay, so we need to completely rewire the way we think and the way we connect with the reality and identify everything outside of us and our relationship to everything outside of us, because everything is relational, right? And we have to go beyond that. Like, how does that even look like in reality? What does that mean? So that's what I mean. For all of this to start manifesting, like here's a new creation, right? The new moon in Leo solar eclipse, it says, okay, we gotta create new way now. Yeah, from now on there is a new creation, new way of creating, with this Mercury Jupiter close into the eclipse and the south node close into the eclipse. So the south node in Leo is everything that Leo was. The old sense of destiny, you have to be a hero, you have to be an achiever, you have to be validated from the external environment, people have to clap their hands and say, well done, you are such an accomplished human being because you achieve all of this, and you were a good martyr, or you were a good hero, or yeah, you're gonna get booed because you were a bad selfish person. Like always it was like this, like we're looking for the validation outside, like this Aquarius, who is my tribe, who is my community. And if they don't see me, Leo, then I feel alienated, like I don't belong, something wrong with me, then obviously squares Taurus, this Chiron thing, and then it says like, oh, I must suck, I must be unworthy, I'm bad, let me go and hide, because I'm a, I don't know, poor person, so I failed as a human, or whatever, and now suddenly this new moon solar eclipse says like, forget about all of that. We're gonna create in a new way now, like where everything is gonna be balanced and equal, and we just gonna, like, everybody's got the same opportunity, with this Mercury in Leo, Jupiter in Leo, everything in Leo. So we're just gonna tune into the quantum field, and you can be anything, and you can have anything, and there is no better or worse, everything is equal, perfect, amazing, right? But how does that happen? Like when we look at the state of the world that we live in right now, even state of your own life and your relational dynamic in your own little environment, your own world, and you go like, what? Like how do we do this? So that's what I mean. Like, what I said in my last video, and I'm not saying I'm right, I'm just saying that this is how I feel about the situation. How can we fix the thing in a 3D in the 3D? Like, yes, the 3D will rearrange itself, but the things have to be fixed, fixed on an energetic level. It's the same thing like people are sick, right? They have some symptom, they have something wrong with, wrong. There is some what they call it, dis-ease, right? That's what they use the term, right? Dis-ease in the body, right? You can use whatever medication you want and whatever cream you want and stuff, unless the thing is corrected on an energetic level, the thing will keep coming back. It will just show up differently, right? It will just manifest in a different physical form, but the energy is the same, right? So this is what I meant when I said, like, you can't fix anything in a 3D through 3D if you want the things to change, right? It has to be done on an energetic level. So this is where is the KITE. The KITE, this Mercury, Jupiter in opposition with Pluto, close into the eclipse, right? And Pluto is still in a closing phase conjunction with the North Node. The conjunction is not like till a year from now, right? So it's like, okay, so there are all these cycles closing, but at the same time, we have Saturn already trying in the eclipse, in this harvest season, saying like, oh yeah, we're ready to pick up the fruits of our labor, right? And also with this Neptune in opposition with Venus, the relational dynamic, the karma, the cause and effect is all being balanced, right? It's all being balanced, and you look at the world and say like, what is she talking about? What is being balanced? Like, look at that, but on a spiritual level, it all makes sense. It all makes sense because the universe, the God, the source consciousness, it doesn't make mistakes. There are no mistakes. There's no way, there is no mistake. Everything always has to be in balance. So now the caveat still is that, okay, there is an energy, you can say started 2023, but obviously there is no beginning, no end, with the solar eclipses in Aries, seeding the new cycle for humanity, right? And Jupiter in Aries, I already talked about this last time. So, and now you have this eclipse in Leo, right? Leo. Just the solar eclipse, no lunar eclipse. Only lunar eclipse in Pisces, no solar eclipse in Pisces. We only closing cycle have Pisces finished. Yeah, so like I said, we have one more at the end of August, and also the final one in Virgo next year, which is like the nodes already in in Leo Aquarius. Don't worry, it's still eclipse in Virgo, next year. So anyway, so there are all these things going on simultaneously. You can see cycles are ending, new cycles are already here, right? But it takes time. Because, just like Pentacles in Tarot, Pentacles are the slowest moving, element, right? They take time because, yes, we can think quick, I can talk quick, right? But it takes time because there are so many things that are, like in our somatic body, right? Ingrained in the body. Because like I said, like the physical, you have to change things on the energetic level, but then it takes longer time for it to manifest in the physical. That's why, things are speeding up now, so the manifestation will be happening much faster than ever before. But, in the old day, you say something and stuff, and it might not come bite you in the ass until like, later, right? Time. You can still cancel it and stuff. Now, no, now things are happening quick. You do something, you get slapped back straight away, or something. So that's what I mean. So with the physical form, it takes time, like just like you plant the seeds, you don't get to go next day and pick up the fruit or take your vegetable, right? It takes time. So in the same way, for the outer reality, for the world that we are experiencing in a physical form, in a 3D, the time, space, and me being incarnate as a soul, that's the 3D. You are a being, a soul in a physical body, the time and space, So for things to change, it will take time, but the energy is already here. So that's why we have this beautiful trine, and this beautiful kite at the precipice of which it's, this Aquarius one way, Leo on the other side, and then we have this Libra and Gemini as a supporting, the two handles, the two sides. So they are supporting this Leo Aquarius creation, this Libra. Things are always being balanced, and we always know what needs balancing because of the crisis we are experiencing when things gone too far. And with the Gemini, then we automatically seek information, new choice. Like if things go wrong, what do? You go and like, how can I fix this? Let me talk to ChatGPT or Gemini or whatever. So anyway, So you are being always in the process of learning, right? Because you can see like this is a consequence of my action or choices or whatever, and now if I don't like it, or if things don't go the way that I was hoping for, then I seek information, and then through the information, Gemini sextile to Leo, I create something new, right? And both are yoding Capricorn, because I have the power to do that, because I have a free will, right? So that's what I mean. So with this kite is highly supporting element that says like, yeah, this is all divinely orchestrated. So in a physical reality, in the 3D, which takes time to change, this energy is already here. You say, okay, there are a lot of things going on in this world that are not in alignment with this energy. So how does this manifest? Exactly the way it's manifesting. We see everything that we don't feel good about. Like, yeah, this politics, like that's not quite like in alignment with Aquarian age, or the what's going on with the nature, because the Mother Earth being raped for such a long time, and it's like, okay, well, where is the reciprocity and stuff? So okay, so there are things going on with that and all the other things, and obviously everything is in cycles and stuff. So yeah, so there is a lot at play, but not much of it is being seen. With the Mars in Cancer, you can feel it, because that's how Pluto acts consciously. Pluto takes a very long time to go around the sun, but Mars only takes 2 years, so yeah, within 2 years you get a better idea, right? For Pluto you need to incarnate multiple times to get through the whole Pluto cycle. So Mars is in Cancer, is connected to the moon, new moon, solar eclipse in in Leo, the one and only ruled by the sun itself, right? Actually, Mars is exalted in Leo, right? No, Mars is exalted in Capricorn. Sun is exalted in Aries. Okay, yeah, that's the way. But Mars likes being in Leo because fire, right? So yeah, we have this Mars that is square in a Venus, right? It's still square in a Venus. Yes, it's square. It's in the T-square with Venus and Neptune, right? Perfect. So with regards to Neptune, it's a first quarter square. With regards to Venus to Mars, Venus is a first quarter square. So there are a lot of adjustments that are taking place. But because, Mars is in Cancer, this is like, okay, on the emotional level, on the inner level. Then Neptune is in Aries. Aries is just the beginning of the cycle, it's not yet manifest. And Venus is okay, this is what needs to be balanced, because this is what I can see, it's not in harmony. So all of these things alongside with the kite, are pushing us into growth. Like Mars is in a T-square, Chiron is in a T-square. Chiron is ruled by Venus, Chiron is in Taurus, anuretic 0 degrees. And the nodes are on the anuretic 29 degrees square by Uranus, out of sign. So all of these things are forcing change. Mars in Cancer, the change has to be done from within. There's no other way. The change can only happen from within, because the outer world is just a mirror, right? It is in response to me. Like, yeah, I don't attract what I want, I attract what I am, right? What I am in resonance with. So that's why there is the trine. The trine in evolutionary astrology, as I'm sure I mentioned many times before, doesn't mean that things are easy. It just means that we are ready for it on a soul level, and because this is a collective energy, as a human collective consciousness, we are ready for this. What are we ready for? We are ready to remember, Cancer, who we really are, creators, infinite creators, extension of the source consciousness, and to start creating in a new way from the heart consciousness. Like I've been saying many times, like I'm very into Joe Dispenza, I'm on the Dr. Joe Dispenza's work, the heart and mind coherence, because the mind in itself, it's not faulty, but it's limited. It's limited by the past. The heart is not limited. The heart is connected to, it's the gateway to the soul, the heart. You can even say, what about a broken heart? Well, that's good, like even that, it's still connecting you to the soul. There is no, like they said, the heart gets broken to open. The heart doesn't get open, shut. When it gets broken, it breaks open, right? So this is why we all go through these things in life, broken heart and pain, because the heart has to break open, right? It breaks open. And then that allows us, to connect. Usually what happens when people are brokenhearted, they go into hermit mode, they want to be alone, they want to connect with themselves, they want to give to themselves, they want to well, I mean, in some cases, yeah, you want to like escape reality and all that, which is in conjunction to Pisces. Still, things are playing out the way they're supposed to for individual, because Leo is authentic expression, right? So with all of that said, because I just feel I'm just going in circle again and I'm not really saying anything, we are learning how to create in a new way. We cannot mentally understand it, because with the Mercury close into Jupiter and Mercury Jupiter close into the lunation, which is an eclipse, which will not have a lunar eclipse counterpart until 2036, right? We don't know, and that's good. Not knowing is a good place to be, because Saturn is in Aries. Not knowing is a good place to be, because if you knew, you would be replicating what was, and that's not where we're going. With the Mars in Cancer, it's saying we're going into the way of creating, which is through our emotion, not the mind. It's through the emotion. I mean, it's both, right? The heart and mind coherence. So anyway, yeah, I could have just said it in 5 minutes, but it's 40. That this energy that is coming online with this solar eclipse in Leo, it's bringing a new way of creating and interacting with reality, which is about connection, your heart and the mind in coherence, connecting you to a higher mind, a new program, which is not through from the matrix, which is directly from the source. The connection that allows you to download whatever information you need. You don't have to be an expert, you don't have to study that, you just know what you need to know for yourself. Doesn't mean it's the same for everyone, not like it is the same for everyone, the ability to connect, but the information that comes through is correct for everyone. That's what I meant. So it doesn't mean that what you feel or know to be right for you, it doesn't make it the universal truth. It makes it the truth for you, your authentic expression of the truth, right? So this is also with the Jupiter burning in Leo, like constantly creating. Leo is authentic. Leo is about individual. So it says that what is my truth, created by my heart, by me, doesn't mean it's going to be your truth. Your truth is your truth. My truth is my truth. So this is where all things are equal, but they all diverse, right? That's also the sextile to Sagittarius. So everybody is learning how to create in this new way, which is unique to them and which allows them to connect to their own source consciousness, to their own guidance, which is a unique expression of the source for the individual. So it's not the same for everyone. It's the right way for you. And that's the way that will guide you through your life. And that's the only way, that is the only guidance that you need, that matters. That's the Saturn in Aries, learning to become our own authority through this new way by feeling and learning to connect to all that is, to your higher self, to the source, to oversouls, learning through your intuition, through your emotion, learning that the way forward, the way forward has to be felt. Like they say, you have to first feel it. You have to become the person that will have that life that you want. You have to act like the person that already has that reality that you are dreaming of, right? So this is what I feel is another layer, in all these layers that the lunations represents. But this one is like, okay, it's non-negotiable. This is like the collective energy, like the solar eclipses in Aries and now we have the solar eclipses in Leos. This is a collective energy that say, yes, they are ready. So this is where, once again, I repeat, it doesn't mean that trines are easy. It doesn't mean things are just gonna fall on our lap and like, hey, perfect, so easy. Yeah, for some people can be easy. For some people, it can be more challenging, because it depends on your level of resistance. With the Uranus in Gemini, there are many, many options, but do I want to consider those, or do I just think that, oh no, my way is the highway and that's the only way? So the level of the resistance determines the level of suffering or challenge. And yeah, underneath all of that, with the Chiron in Taurus, is that you always are guided and protected through you always are guided through your own body, through your own senses, but not in the way, because you see there is the duality, with the senses being the way we connect to the outer reality, like I said previously in video. They can be deceiving, because I can see it, I can hear it, I can smell it, I can taste it, so it must be true. So it's like connecting beyond that, like these senses are allowing us to find you find a proof for whatever you believe. There's also the in conjunction between Taurus and Sagittarius. You find the proof for whatever you believe. So it depends on your belief. What do you believe that you are observing? Like when you're looking at the symbols and signs, the universe doesn't very rarely just you have a voice in your head that tells you straight, right? You see symbols and signs and synchronicities and stuff, and then they mean whatever they mean to you. What your interpretation of them is the one that's right for you. For someone else it means something else, but it's only what it means to you that matters, in your case. I don't even know where I was going with this, but anyway. So yeah, so with the Chiron in Taurus, the key is within. And yes, coming into the sextile, right? Sextile with Mars. Yeah, it's actually, it's the exact sextile. I think it's happening the same day. What didn't I say? Happening the same day, the sextile between Chiron and Mars. Chiron and Mars. Okay, well, it won't show me here. Chiron and Mars sextile. Yeah, same day. Yeah, right before the eclipse. Learning to move forward towards your, Uranus expression of Aquarius, which goes beyond the manifested reality from the prior, through how does it feel in my body, but also understanding that the body follows the mind. So we have to go beyond that. The body is your instrument, is the tool that helps you to connect to something that is beyond what's just observed. So anyway, I'm just gonna leave it at that, because I just feel like, I'm just not making any more sense. So I'm just gonna pull some cards. This is a Queen of the Moon oracle energy for the solar eclipse in Leo, August 12, 2026. And I'm just thinking, August 12, 2026 is number 12, right? Because 12 is 3 plus 8 is 11, and we are in the year 1. So yeah, 11 and 1, 12, number 3. So also the 12 is the hanged man, looking at things from a different perspective. Anyway, change, just flipped out. So this is the level of resistance. The change is here, the egg is already here. We don't know what is going to come out of it, because we don't have lunar eclipse in Leo, until 2036, the illumination of what is being seeded. But also you can see the red or orange, however you want to look at it. But it's already here, so we can resist all we want. It's already here, so the level of suffering, or like the sense of unsafety, or if you think about it as a orange, as a sacred chakra, like that, my level of not enjoying it depends on the level of resistance. So the change is here, the change is coming no matter what. And this is a number 8. So 8 is the Saturn, and Jupiter, the expansion, the manifestation of whatever you've been seeding, working on, because 8, like 8 of Pentacles, whatever you've been working on. And this is a tandem moon. So this solar eclipse in Leo is seeding a lot of change, because we are going to learn to create, relate, connect, identify, communicate everything in a new way. And it's supported by Saturn in Aries, retrograde, which is saying that yes, because this will make you the conscious creator of reality, not the, slave to something else. And at the bottom is assessing. You know, this card I think came last time. This is a number 9. You know, this is also with the closing phases. You know, the Mercury closing to Jupiter, Mercury and Jupiter closing to the new moon. The eclipse happening, a closing phase conjunction with the node, assessing how far we come, where are we going, how do I want to feel. You know, this is again like if really like I'm unlimited creator and the whole universe is to my disposal, you know, and I can go beyond the limitation of my mind, Jupiter, right? Go beyond the limitation of my mind, and I can really just give myself the permission to dream and vision whatever I want. And you know, it's not even about the scene, it's about the feeling. How do I want to feel in that situation? You know, the details of how it's going to manifest is not up to me. That's, you know, we are assessing what is my authentic expression. Am I living my authentic life? Am I happy? You know, do I feel my life has a purpose and a meaning? Or what in my life needs to culminate to make space for the new thing, right? The number 9 and the number 8, because the new creation is coming. It's not yet much color, but it's already there, you know, with the red. The life force is there. All right, then we're gonna do Sacred Destiny, because Leo is connected to destiny. This is Denise Lin. Sacred Destiny Oracle. Let's see what is the message from the new moon solar eclipse in Leo, number 1 of 2. Number 1 of 2, yeah. Oh yeah, number 2, yeah. All the number 2s. There is only two solar eclipses in Leo. Number 1 of the 2. Adventures. Yeah, this is also the Jupiterian energy. We are setting for an adventure, you know, in a new way, new world. Look at all that yellow and orange. Yeah, creating by connecting to our emotion, to connecting to reality in a new way. The source wants to explore, you know, is like ready. Like, yeah, you know, like let's explore this world in a different way. Let's create in a different way. Let's connect in a different way, right? Because this is like a very childlike energy. Like, why do things the same way over and over? Why keep doing things that you don't enjoy? Let's learn different ways. So here we go. The soul, the destiny wants a new adventure. And focus. Have to focus on what it is that we wish to create. You know, blank canvas. We are going to be stepping into a year of the fire goat next year. You know, goat, like a Capricorn. There is a new mountain for us to climb, but at the moment it's frozen. You decide what it is, because you are the creator. You know, with this cat, like cats to me are very Aquarian. They're very Aquarian because they're very authentic. You cannot really train the cat the way you train a dog. You know, dogs are very Syrian. They're very like loyal. They always mirror the owner. But cats, no. You know, cats, most cases, they just do what they want. You know, they are their own thing. So there is like this white snow, this pure snow, that it's saying that there is this pure blank canvas for you to paint on. Your new authentic expression. There is this new mountain, this new adventure for you to climb, you know, and then there's gonna be another mountain, doesn't matter. But right now it's still frozen, it's still under the snow. It's like you can decide whatever you want it to be, you know, with all these beautiful pastel colors, with your heart. What is your heart desiring to experience? What is the next adventure for your soul? One that you haven't had yet. At the bottom right away, the sun. Perfect, the rebirth. But let's just see if it comes out again. Okay. Funny because that sun, Leo, you know, ruled by the sun. What is the guidance for the solar eclipse in Leo, August 2026? I'm curious. Okay, strength. Perfect. That's another Leo. Yeah, if you don't get a sun, you get the Leo and Hermit. Yeah, and Wheel of Fortune. Okay, and the Star. Okay, I'll take all of those. Perfect. Okay, so this is interesting because we have the Aquarius and the Leo. You know, the number 8 and the number 17. So this card has been coming up a lot in this year alone, you know, this year number 1, because it does take strength to surrender to the guidance of something that is, you know, intangible, ineffable, Like, how do I know? Like the purity of the soul, it only comes through the heart and the infinity, like these, like our soul is infinite. It's been here so many times before, and it's not just on this planet. It's like there is so much our soul has already experienced and is experiencing and will experience. This is just another adventure. So many of us are in this state of being frustrated, apathetic, feeling no meaning, potentially angry. There's the Mars, and we just want something different. Like, okay, like I want something more in this world. And we think we know, we try, like, okay, maybe new job, maybe new partner, maybe new dress, maybe new car, maybe new whatever, new location. And you take yourself with you wherever you go. And I can tell you, because I've been traveling since I was 19 years old. For 22 years I've been traveling, and it doesn't matter where you go. Yeah, in some place, obviously every place impacts you, and in some places you feel better than others, 100%, but you still take yourself with you wherever you go. So if I think that I know where am I going, what is this horizon, and I know what's gonna make me happy, with the mind, then usually it doesn't quite give you the result you seek it. We have to decide with the heart, because like usually I don't know why I'm pulled in certain location. Like, I don't know why I feel I need to go wherever. And yeah, like, why did I go here or there? And then I never know. And sometimes I don't even know when I'm there. I'm just like, well, it doesn't always feel good. I don't know why I felt the need to come here, and I don't feel good. So what was the point, right? And usually later on, and you will understand how that fitted into the tapestry of your life, why that experience was necessary, and where did it lead you. So when we live life in that way, the Wu way, where you just trust and you follow the heart, even though it doesn't necessarily always make sense, it will guide you exactly where you need to go. Somewhere where you feel alive, living the adventure, the potential of your future. One foot in earth, because we didn't come here to transcend the physical reality. You came here to live it. But live it in a different way, which is in connection with your soul, not disconnection, not feeling abandoned, like the potential of the future, which is both, the soul having a full experience by remembering itself, by being remembered, rather than feeling like, okay, if I'm dead, I go to spirit world, and then I remember who I am really, and then I'm here and I don't know who I am, I forgot, I'm completely disconnected. Like, how can we create and experience reality in a way when both are present? And the only way we can do it, it's going within. This is Hermit holds the star of the future. The star of the future, this star is here, right? The Pleiades sisters. And here we got the Jupiter. This is the year 10, the number 10, the wheel of fortune. So this solar eclipse in Leo represents this. This is where the wheel truly is turning. Here is the snake, all the fixed signs, the cardinal cross. It is really turning, because we're not going back. We're not going back. And what this means for you, you will only find within. This is the Virgo. Find within yourself. Like, what does this mean to me? What are these symbols? What is this about? And then trust and surrender that your heart, Leo, will guide you where you're meant to go. To this new experience, to this new way of experiencing reality. Aquarius in conjuncts Virgo. There is an in conjunction blind spot. If I know where I'm going, I'm just gonna do what I've always done. This was another thing that I experienced recently, saying to my husband, like, going to the same places over and over, that I've been going to past, I don't know how many, years or decades. Yes, I can learn deeper, that topic, what that place offers to me. But how much deeper do you want to go? How much more you want to scratch that same surface? Like, there are so many new landscapes to explore, so many new adventures. So why keep going for more? Like, maybe that's enough now. Maybe, yes, I had enough of this place. I had enough of this experience. Maybe now there is a different experience I want to have. I don't need to keep reattracting the same thing over and over, and it looks a little bit different, but it feels the same. And yeah, now I have deeper understanding of the same thing. But do I really need to, or do I want to have an understanding of something different now? So it is all very subjective, you know. That's the Leo. Only you know what's right for you. So that's why here is the Virgo. Virgo in conjunct, you know, Virgo trines Taurus. Virgo in conjunct Aquarius. Because we're not supposed to know. You're not supposed to be told by someone else. No book will tell you. You only know through your own experience, through your own life and how you feel. And if we can be strong enough to allow the higher self to guide us, it will take us to the most magnificent place, the place of healing and balance. You know, Aquarius trines Libra, and also the trines to Gemini, which is what we got going on, you know, the KITE. The Venus in Libra, the Pluto in Aquarius, and Uranus in Gemini, whilst this Mercury is in Leo. So here it is, the cards. So this is a turning point with the new moon in Leo, because the new creation is being seeded. What that means for you, only you know. And if you follow your heart, it will take you exactly, well, not even where you want to go. It will take you somewhere you can't even dream about right now, because with the Aquarius, it goes beyond your dreams. You know, you only know how it feels. So anyway, with all that said, I'm gonna end here, because like seriously, just so funny, because like every time after a video, I'm like, should I even post this? Like, should I even publish this? It's like, I don't know if this is really, you know, holds a value for anyone. But anyway, at least I got to talk to myself for an hour. But with all that said, I hope it does offer something to someone out there. And as I mentioned, my final sale is ongoing at the moment. If you would like to book any type of reading with me, then you can take advantage of that. It will be on until the end of the month, and then next month towards the equinox there will be a complete restructuring of my pricing, and that's what it will be, going from equinox in September onwards. So with all of that, have a wonderful, blessed, destined eclipse in Leo, the first one of the two, and I'll see you for the next one, which will be the final eclipse in Pisces. Much love everyone, and bye for now.